All right, today we're tackling something that's, well, it's a total game changer for cyber defense. We're talking about hyperautomation. The biggest problem we all face in this space, it really boils down to one thing: speed. Cyber threats are just moving way too fast. I mean, the bad guys, the new attack methods, the crazy new malware, it's all evolving at a breakneck pace that our old school manual security it can't keep up. So here's the real question, and I'm talking to all the IT leaders and CISOs listening. Can your team really keep up? Seriously. When your people are buried in alerts, trying to connect the dots by hand, are you actually winning? Or are you just playing catch-up, always one step behind the next attack? And that brings us to a pretty tough reality, right? The old way of doing cybersecurity, well, it's kind of fighting a losing battle. Let's dig into exactly why that is. I want you to picture it like this. It's a race against the clock. The second a threat gets into your network, that clock starts ticking, loudly. With the old manual approach, by the time a person actually sees the alert, figures out what's going on, and then finally does something about it, it's often too late. The data is gone, the ransomware is locked in. It's like you're in a foot race against a Formula One car. You just can't win that way. And listen, this isn't just some theory. This is the painful, day-to-day reality for so many security teams out there. Your people are literally drowning in millions of alerts. That creates huge delays. And what does that mean? It means the attackers have all the time in the world to poke around your network before you even know they exist. It's a huge waste of time, a huge waste of money, and honestly, it's burning out your best security folks. Okay, so what if we could flip the script? What if we could change the rules of that race entirely? Well, that's exactly where hyperautomation steps in. This isn't just a small tweak. It's a massive shift from playing defense to having a system that's proactive and, well, intelligent. So what is this thing, hyperautomation? Let's be clear, this is not your grandma's automation. We're talking about a powerful combo of artificial intelligence, machine learning, and robotic process automation, all working together. The result is a cybersecurity system that doesn't just follow a checklist. No, it can actually think, it can act, and it can respond all by itself. So instead of a human having to do all that spotting, investigating, and reacting, the system does all the heavy lifting for you. And look, this isn't some pie-in-the-sky futuristic concept. The results are real right now. And you don't have to take my word for it. Gartner, and you know they're the gold standard for this stuff, says that companies using hyperautomation can expect to cut their operating costs by a whopping 30% by 2026. Think about that. It saves you time, it saves you a ton of money, and it gives you way, way better protection. Okay, so that's the big idea, but how does it actually work in the real world? Let's take a look at the AiCyberWatch method, which they built with their partner Imperium to see how this whole hyperautomation thing actually comes to life. They've broken it down into 3 main pillars. It's a really simple but incredibly powerful flow. First, you gather all the data. Second, you use smart AI to detect threats. And third, you respond automatically. Let's dive into each one of these. All right, step 1. It all begins with one simple rule. You can't protect what you can't see. So the first thing you have to do is get total visibility. That means pulling in a ton of data from absolutely everywhere. Your servers, your laptops, your networks, your cloud accounts on AWS or Azure, even pulling in threat intel from the outside. The goal here is to see the entire battlefield, no blind spots. And right away, you see the power of AI in action. The system uses something called natural language processing to read and make sense of these mountains of security logs, and it does it in seconds. Think about that. Log parsing, that super slow, tedious job of sifting through data, it's now 95% faster. That's just incredible. Okay, so now you've got all this data. What next? Well, you need the brains to understand it, right? That's step 2, smart threat detection. This is where the AI and machine learning models kick in. These things have been trained on billions, with a B, of threat patterns. So they're not just looking for stuff we already know about. No, they're analyzing behavior to spot brand new, advanced attacks and weird activity almost the instant it happens. And you know what one of the biggest wins is here? Cutting through all the noise. If you've ever worked in a security operations center, you know the soul-crushing pain of false alarms. A smart AI like this learns to tell the difference between a real threat and just weird but harmless network traffic. And the result? It cuts down false alarms by a staggering 80%. That lets your human experts focus on the real fires. And now for step 3, where speed is absolutely everything: automated response. As soon as the system spots a credible threat, it doesn't just send an email and wait. No way. It acts instantly. It'll quarantine a compromised laptop, block a dangerous IP address right at the firewall, and shoot an alert to the right people wherever they are. Just look at how this completely changes the game for your team. With a system like this, a full 80% of the everyday incidents are handled automatically. Poof, gone, without a human lifting a finger. This totally flips the script. Your security team stops being a bunch of frantic firefighters running from blaze to blaze, and they become the fire marshals, strategists who can focus on the really tricky, complex 20% of threats. Okay, so the theory sounds great, but does it actually work? Let's get into the proof. We're going to look at a real-world case study with a healthcare client over in India. The results here are just wow. Before this, the client was drowning in alerts. Their average time to respond to a problem? 6 hours. 6. After they brought in hyperautomation, that time dropped to just 12 minutes. Let that sink in. 6 hours down to 12 minutes. That is literally the difference between a minor incident and a full-blown disaster. And just think about the sheer scale we're talking about here. This system chews through more than 2.1 million security events every single day. There is no human team on Earth that can handle that kind of volume. And out of all those millions of events, a mind-blowing 91% of the triage, that critical first look to see if something's really a problem, is now completely automated. And now for the bottom line, the number everyone wants to hear. On top of being way more secure, the client saved over $200,000 a year in their security operations costs. This isn't just about better security. It's about running a smarter, more efficient business. Period. So let's wrap this up. What does all of this actually mean for you and your company? Here's the takeaway. What do you get? You get end-to-end visibility. You see everything everywhere. Cloud, on-prem, you name it. You get a massively reduced workload because 80% of that boring, repetitive stuff is just automated. You get real-time threat response, stopping attacks in under 15 minutes. And maybe most importantly, you get a smart system that's always learning and getting better. This isn't just an upgrade, it's a whole new level of capability. And that really brings us to the final critical question. Think about it. So much of security today is just us working for our tools. We're constantly managing alerts, tweaking rules, chasing down ghosts. Hyperautomation asks a really simple but profound question. Isn't it time your cybersecurity started working for you? Thanks for tuning in.